My last reply to Miles Davis. Right, in my last video, right, Miles Davis brought out an issue that when I pushed my plumb line, my horizon line back, that I was cheating, right? Because the angle that I pushed it back at wasn't level with in Z space. And he's right. Right, it's my bad. I was a bit sloppy, but it wasn't done deliberately. So what I've done is to answer Miles Davis. I've set up 3 working files, one in HitFilm, one in Sony Vegas Pro, and one in Bluff Titler. So anyone is welcome to download these working files and check them out for themselves. So the only way that you can check that if what I'm saying is the truth, you can open up those working files and put them to the test. So the issue is, if I have a horizon plumb line and I have a lighthouse, if I move the horizon line backwards in 3D space, that horizon line will eventually get smaller and smaller. And especially if my camera is centered, right? This is normal 3D perspective. That's how it works. Miles is saying that he's trying to use that aspect of perspective to say that the earth is curved. And he's lying. So, if I show you this image, if I were to ask you, do you think this man, right, has made a mistake, or is just a lapse of concentration, and he just took this lady's laptop by, or a bag by accident? You have to answer no. Right? So Miles and his cronies, when they lie to people and they're trying to twist the facts and the truth, they're robbing people of their dignity and their honor, because everybody has the right to know the truth, and especially regarding the flat earth. People say, why do you bother? Well, if you saw this happening, wouldn't you shout out to this lady? Wouldn't you correct this man and say, hey, it's, what you're doing is wrong. Stop doing that. Right? We have an obligation to help one another, especially innocent people. And if we turn a blind eye to it, how would you feel if you were that lady? You'd think, well, why didn't someone warn me? Why didn't anybody tell me? And so that's what I'm doing, especially regarding the flat earth. People need to be warned. They need to be made aware that there are people like Miles and his cronies that are lying in your face. Right, so let's deal with the issue. Right, my first clip, I've set it up in HitFilm, so you can go download the working files in HitFilm and see for yourself if I'm telling the truth. You'll have a few free days to play around with it. So in HitFilm, I've got my lighthouse, I've got my horizon plumb line. I push the plumb line backwards in 3D space, right, on its Z-axis. The plumb line eventually gets to the horizon line, right? Miles is saying that this happens because the base is curved. No, it doesn't. Right? Miles is lying through his teeth. Right, so you can go and download HitFilm Pro and download my working files at Dropbox. The next one is I've done this application in Bluff Titler. So in Bluff, right, I pushed my horizon line back in 3D space. I was a bit sloppy, when I did this in this application earlier on in my other clip. Right, I didn't double check, and it's so easy to make a mistake in this, because you can click on that horizon line and not realize that you've made a key and something's moved. And it's so easy, you've got to double check, but no excuses. I was sloppy and it's my fault. Right, the final one is Sony Vegas Pro. Right, so I've set up PNG planar surfaces in 3D space, and if you look at the principle there, if I push my horizon line backwards in 3D space, right, the horizon line will always be dead center of your screen. That means the lighthouse and the plumb line are in line with the camera. Things get smaller as they go towards the horizon. It's not because the horizon is curved. And that's what Mars is trying to imply. He's misleading people. He's using perspective to trick people. So look, here's Cape Town, right? It's always good to set up something, an image that sets the scene. In other words, it's an establishment shot. An establishment shot helps people to get an idea of size. It's a general image. You stand back, and it helps people to place themselves in the scene where they are, so that when you're discussing something with them, they know exactly what you're talking about. So here's Table Mountain. We can see the soccer stadium in the front, right? If I show you this image, right, you set up, well, by the way, this image alone tells you the earth is flat. There's no curve. You've got to open your eyes and look. Right? Now I'll show you this image. Now if I do say to you, well, we know Table Mountain's a lot taller than the ship, right? This boat. But in this image, the boat is taller than Table Mountain. And the reason why that is because the water's curved. It's ridiculous. It's perspective. It's normal perspective. Right? Look at those buildings at the bottom of Table Mountain in Cape Town. Those buildings are much taller than this ship, for goodness sake. And Mars is trying to use that kind of reasoning to trick you. And unfortunately, people who are not familiar with these type of things, with filming and with photography and working in 3D space, they get misled. They'll believe it and say, oh yeah, well, there's a curve in the water. No, there's not. And you know, when people like Miles Davis try to lie to you about these things, it's shocking. It's terrible. They're robbing you of the truth. They're robbing you of your dignity. And then if they bring a ruler in to try and help convince you, right, it's a joke. Seriously, it's a joke. Right? So if you look at the boats and the ships in the harbour, in Cape Town harbour, right, look at Table Mountain, look at Lions at Devil's Peak, right, on the right hand side. And I try and argue the same issue here. Look at the containers. I pop in a ruler and I say, you know, these containers are so high, and if you measure them, look at Table Mountain, the top of Table Mountain's in line with the containers, therefore the earth's curved. That line of reasoning is just, it's so pathetic, it's stupid. Right? It's a joke.
Are you serious?
Right. These are Miles. You need to understand that when people wake up, they're going to hold people like Miles accountable. And they're going to want justice from people like Miles. So I don't know what Miles is going to do. When this person gets caught, right, what's he going to say as an excuse? What can he say? Right? So if people lie and they keep doing it, well, we just got to bring the walls down on their head by telling the truth, shouting the truth out. And if we keep shouting the truth out, the whole system of lies will just collapse and fall on the very people that are propagating this wicked system built on lies. So you get out there, you shout it out, and you shout the truth out. The whole system is going to collapse on them. It has to. So the veg files and the working files are made available in Dropbox. Go download them, download the software, and thanks and cheers for watching. You can see for yourself if I'm telling the truth. And thanks for your time.